April's going to be a big month for video games. Hi folks, it's Falcon and today on GameRanks, games you need to play in April of 2020. Just a quick disclaimer before we get started, Minecraft Dungeons is almost definitely delayed. There's no real reason to expect that game this month, so that's why we're not talking about it. But without further ado, number 10 is Deliver Us to the Moon, a sci-fi thriller set in a post-apocalyptic future where there's no energy source on the Earth that works anymore anyways, but one was found on the moon. Now a base was set up to harvest this energy, and something happened where all communications from that base ceased. You are an astronaut going up to investigate what happened. This is a game that came out on PC last October. It is very well loved by the community of people who've played it. It's not a terribly long game. I beat it in just a little over 6 hours. And it's one of those games that'll just suck you in entirely. It's such a good telling of a story. And while being extremely well told, the story is also refreshingly simple in a manner that makes it a lot more believable. Deliver Us to the Moon is hitting PS4 and Xbox One on April 24th. And at number 9 is Disaster Report 4, Summer Memories, a fairly novel concept where you have to escape a city that has been destroyed. You play as a character that goes into the city for a job interview, there's a massive earthquake, and you're trapped. It's cool, you can enter collapsed buildings and try to find new ways to get out. As you're doing this, you'll find other survivors, and you can use PSVR with this thing. I'll say it's interesting in these times that we're seeing games like this developed. It's obviously a series that has become gradually more noticeable. Disaster Report 4 plus Summer Memories is coming to PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, and PC on April 7th. At number 8 is SnowRunner, a trucking game where you're going through very cold, extreme environments with a pretty deep simulation on environments. The physics that we've seen and that have been explained about this game sound incredible. They've done a great job simulating different water levels for the environment, so you may end up having muddy terrain, you may end up having frozen terrain, and your truck will react differently no matter what kind of terrain that is. What's particularly cool is, of course, when you have to cross water, the water currents may actually overwhelm your truck and upturn it, and from what I've seen, it's actually kind of cool when that happens. The physics stuff in this game is really impressive, and I'm definitely looking forward to how it plays out. There's a wide range of different trucks you can be driving, from small pickup trucks to massive semi-trucks. There's a ton of heavy industrial equipment you could be driving. It looks like a pretty in-depth trucking simulation. It sounds like a lot of fun. SnowRunner is releasing on the 28th on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. At number 7 is Gears Tactics, a turn-based strategy game, of course, based on the Gears of War franchise. Honestly, I think that's a good idea just right off the bat. Something along the lines of XCOM, but as Gears of War. You rally up a squad and go through a immersive and character-driven story, according to the marketing materials. One thing I definitely do like is that it promises to bring some very big boss battles. The game is actually set 12 years before the original Gears of War, close to the beginning of the actual war, where cities are falling to the Locust Horde. Obviously, stuff gets worse after the events of this game, so I think we can make some guesses as to what exactly happens. However, it's bound to be quite a ride. Gears Tactics is coming to Xbox One and Microsoft Windows, April 28th. At number 6 is Someday You'll Return, a psychological horror game that looks like it's very much drawing on sort of Outlast and Vanishing of Ethan Carter, as well as the more traditional Silent Hill, sort of you're entering a mystical place type thing. The idea of this game is you're looking for your daughter. She's run away a few times before, but this time it feels different because she has run away to a forest that you promised you would never return to. Of course, you return to it, hence the title. Today is someday, so to speak. And the game presents you with a very unique and otherworldly forest that's filled with lots of, well, let's just say terrifying stuff. There's monsters in this game, but let's be honest, the human foes are probably the worst. At least according to what we've seen so far. Someday You'll Return is coming to PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Windows on April 14th. At number 5 is Predator Hunting Grounds, which is an asymmetrical shooter that, yes, we've seen quite a few of those in recent years, but in all honesty, pretty much everything we've seen and heard about this one sets it apart in a way that makes me a little more excited for it. Predator is a hell of a monster to be able to play as, and from what we've seen of the gameplay, it looks like they've adapted it really well. Basically having a single meter that handles everything, giving him the ability to do a lot of stuff, but balance it in a way that it's not completely unfair. And believe me, like in the movies, it's really unfair. The Predator is an overpowered bad guy, and in part, that's the allure of this game even. Obviously, the point if you're not the Predator is to get the hell out of the forest. I mean, you're not totally helpless against the Predator, but you're not going to be killing it, so don't bother with that. You do have a nice range of some weapons, from assault rifles to shotguns to more heavy weapons, but let me just say this. In truth, all the jumping between the trees, though, really makes playing as the Predator appealing to me. It looks like a lot of fun. There's a lot of different weapons that the Predator specifically has access to, which seem like a lot of fun. And Predator Hunting Grounds is hitting PS4 April 24th. At number 4 is Sakura Wars, a soft reboot of the longtime series. The game, of course, takes place in a obviously fictionalized version of 1940s Japan and combines elements of dating sims, visual novels, and action role-playing, meaning there's a ton of dialogue, and on top of that, there's combat. Honestly, it looks like a game that's got a lot of depth. The series itself is definitely what you would expect from something that combines a lot of different things. It can be a little all over the place. I've played previous titles before, although keep in mind I played it way back in the day when it was a tactical role-playing game and you had to run it on an emulator because you could not get it in the United States. That being said, ensuing titles came out here in the States and it's always been a good series. I kind of think that this is going to be a sort of modernization of it, and I think that that's not a bad thing. I think that it's something that could use that. It's, believe it or not, built on the Hedgehog engine and is hitting PlayStation 4 on April 28th. At number 3 is Trials of Mana, a port of a game that originally came out in 1995. It's of course a full-blown remake. It's 3D. It does have a very cool, very old-school JRPG type aesthetic to it, although it does a really great job of bringing a more hand-drawn look to 3D characters. It doesn't go fully into it. It's of course a game that has a slightly more action-oriented battle system than a lot of JRPGs did at the time. And that looks to be adapted in a way that I think actually builds on it pretty well. Obviously, we'll have to play it, but I certainly look forward to doing so when Trials of Mana hits on April 28th. At number 2 is Resident Evil 3. This is, of course, a Big Daddy release. Resident Evil 3 is one of the most phenomenal games ever made, and I'm incredibly looking forward to this remake of it. It has been given the treatment of the Resident Evil 2 remake, which Resident Evil 3 is kind of an extension of Resident Evil 2, given that some takes place directly before, some takes place after, and I'm just really ready to see this. Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3 are my favorite of the Resident Evil titles, and in truth, I kind of have some hope that they do the same treatment with the original Resident Evil, even though there is an HD remake of it, because the Resident Evil 2 remake just absolutely kills, and I fully expect this one to do it as well. Resident Evil 3 is hitting PC, PS4, and Xbox One on April 3rd. And finally, at number 1, oh, yes, it's Final Fantasy VII's remake, which, oh, this gonna be good. Any doubts I had about this game were just gone the minute I got into this demo. This demo was absolutely phenomenal. The kind of banter and between player back and forth just goes incredibly well with the tone of the game, as well as the overall engine, style of play, level design, boss design, enemy design, etc. We know that this is going to be just Midgar, and that it's going to be a very long game, and they've expanded a lot of Midgar, but I have to say I'm quite excited, because that means we're going to be seeing a very large amount of Final Fantasy VII over the next long while. I have to imagine they have also been working on other areas of the game, having more Final Fantasy VII Remake installments on the way. We don't know anything about that yet, but I'm super stoked for this one. It's hitting the PlayStation 4 on April 10th. Quick bonus title for you, Hellpoint, an action RPG that takes place on a space station filled with monsters and horrible things. It might sound a bit like Dead Space, but it doesn't look a lot like Dead Space. It actually looks a lot more like Dark Souls to me, albeit in a much different environment that I think might actually be a pretty cool change. The game offers local and online co-op. It looks like a hell of a fun time, no pun intended. Hellpoint is coming April 16th. Give it a look. Hyper Parasite, a game based on a type of organism that is a parasite of a parasite. Intriguing? Yes. Hyper Parasite is, however, a twin-stick shooter / brawler where you control a body-snatching parasite whose goal is to destroy humanity. Like, let's just be serious, that's a great concept for a game. And it's currently out on early access, of course on Steam. It's only $17.99 and, well, it's fun as hell. I would highly recommend checking it out. That's coming to PC, PS4, Xbox, and Switch in full on April 3rd. It's not like you can't play it right now if you don't want to. but still. That's all for today. What games are you looking forward to playing in April? Leave us a comment, let us know what you think. If you like this video, please click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week, and the best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription. So click subscribe, and also don't forget to click the notification bell. As always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter @FalconTheHero, and we'll see you next time right here on GameRanks.